Good afternoon. TechNation editor John Wallace here. Today we will learn more about the Rigel SafeTest 60 Plus. The Rigel SafeTest 60 Plus is a medical safety analyzer designed for high volume testing of medical and laboratory equipment. It ensures compliance with NFPA 99 standards by performing essential applied parts tests, including patient current leakage and insulation measurements to guarantee electrical safety. The key enhancement is the introduction of dynamic pass-fail thresholds during measurement. This feature streamlines the testing process by automatically providing clear real-time results and reducing the risk of errors. Built for clinical engineering teams, hospitals, and service organizations, the SafeTest 60 Plus is powerful and user-friendly. Its rugged design and advanced functionality make it ideal for maintaining the safety and reliability of critical equipment. With its focus on precision, efficiency, and ease of use, the SafeTest 60 Plus is an indispensable tool for HDM professionals. Okay, now it's trivia time. We're going to be giving away a multi-tool. So the trivia question is, the Super Bowl takes place on Sunday. Which city is hosting this year? Please answer using the questions feature in the dashboard, and we will announce the winner later in the webinar. Now, I want to remind everyone that today's presentation is eligible for 1 CE credit from the ACI. 1 hour after the end of today's broadcast, you will receive an emailed survey. Completing that survey will grant access to a certificate that you can download and print from your desktop. We will wrap up today's broadcast with a Q&A. Please note that the webinar dashboard includes a questions feature that you can use to submit your questions, and we will have the question and answer session at the end of the webinar. Today's presenter is Rigel Medical North American Product Manager, Lewis Leonard. Lewis, you may begin whenever you are ready.
Okay, thanks, John. Appreciate the introduction. So I don't need to go through my introduction myself, but I've been with Rigel for about 10 years now. I've been working as in the biomed industry for that whole time, with some background in biomedical engineering and also product knowledge within our portfolio. Firstly, I'd like to just do a little introduction to what the SafeTest 60 Plus is. It's a portable and compact biomedical safety analyzer. It's the latest one from our portfolio, and we've had it on the market now for about 6 months. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this demo today, speak about what the key features are for that product, and further to that, just talk about the user interface, the visual indicators that we've introduced, which is the pass-fail limits, and just talk about how it works well for healthcare facilities, service departments, and also in field applications. So John, are we doing the Q&A now, or should we do that at the end?
It's up to you. Do you want to do the poll questions right now?
No, we can do that at the end. That works. I'll get through with the demo now, so I'll just get that started. So for nearly 40 years, Rigel Medical has been a trusted name in biomedical test equipment. We help healthcare technology professionals ensure that critical medical devices remain safe and reliable throughout their entire life cycle. So that's from the OEM stage of medical devices right through to when they're in the end user's facility, in biomed departments and HDM service organizations. All of our test equipment is designed and built at our main manufacturing facility in Peterlee in the UK, where we have our quality and continuous innovation teams developing new products for Rigel. When it comes to sales and service, we also have an office right here in the US, with a facility in Tampa, Florida. From there, we can make it easy to provide local service and support to any of our customers. We've got fast support, expert guidance, anyone across the country and beyond if they need that help, whether it's electrical safety testing, performance analyzers, and calibration service. We make things a little bit more simpler to get our products in, and it makes it more efficient and reliable for us. So biomedical teams can focus on keeping healthcare environments running safely and smoothly. So the SafeTest 60 Plus is our latest development, and it's designed as an entry-level electrical safety analyzer for customers who need to test electrical medical equipment in the healthcare industry. It's a step up from our SafeTest 50, which is typically used in home care settings. So it's more ideal for biomedical engineers, technicians, and service teams who require an entry-level, cost-effective safety tester, but reliable enough to ensure patient safety and compliance with safety testing standards or codes. One of the standouts with the 60 Plus from the rest of the range is that it's still very advanced. It's got the ability to test all types of medical devices, but it comes in a very good price point. So it fills an important gap with an easy to use device, manual tester that still meets the essential electrical safety testing requirements. So if you're working in a hospital, as an independent service organisation, or even a medical device manufacturer doing their post-production checks, or out in their service organisation teams themselves, then this is the ideal tester for them. It's really straightforward, it's efficient to conduct electrical safety tests, and I'm going to walk you through some of the key features in this webinar and demonstrate how it's easy to use and how it fits into healthcare's overall testing process. And I'll also highlight how it aligns with the NFPA 99 code and ensures that all the electrical safety testing you're performing is compliant. And then if you've got any questions as we go along, just feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll either address them during the demo or we can do that at the end of the session. So from the moment you take it out of the box, it's ready to go. All of our SafeTest devices are very similar in terms of user interface, and we've received a lot of feedback that it's a straightforward operation. So even those that are very new to electrical safety testing, so the BMET ones, they can quickly get up to speed with this tester in no time at all. There's no complicated setup or training really required. You just power it on and you're ready to start testing. One of the important aspects of the 60 Plus, our newest product, is that it's introduced dynamic pass-fail thresholds during measurement. And this is just a great feature that ensures your results are inspected quickly. Quick glance, you can see if the results fall within the safe limits of the code you're testing to. So it's a simple, but it's an effective tool for the specific requirements of any devices that you're testing. And what it will do, it'll constantly measure those against the preset limits. So once you've fired the device up and you assign the specific test, it will give you the pass-fail feedback to help streamline the process. One of the key features of all of the SafeTests really is its compactness, its robust and portable design. For HCM professionals and biomed engineers, they need test equipment that's easy to transport. So if you're moving it between different departments in a hospital, or if you're taking it out in the car, servicing equipment in the field, or even working in any sort of busy workshop, then it's lightweight, but it's also durable enough to handle any daily use in the demanding healthcare environments. So here's a little list of what we have in the box when you buy it. When you get the device, it comes with everything you need straight away. That includes the standard essential accessories like the mains lead, the test probe, and also a small carry case. It also has a CAL cert to ensure that the device is accurate from the day you receive it. But we've also got additional accessories like extra cables or adapters, where we've got options to help you tailor to whatever your testing needs are. We've got a patient lead adapter box, and with NFPA 99 and all of the leads being common to to the patient leads, that means you can actually stack the patient lead boxes together. So if you need up to 20 leads, then all you need to do is have 2 patient lead adapter boxes, and they can stack on top of each other. So capable of testing up to 20, 30 leads with this device. So here's a little example of how it's changed and how we've introduced the settings for standards. We've introduced the limits. So it makes it easy for adjusting test limits. It's simple and it's pretty intuitive. By default, it follows class 1 standards, but you can easily customize the limits to suit your own needs. Even better than that, once you change them, they'll stay safe throughout a power cycle. So you don't have to keep re-entering in the different limits every time you turn the unit on. It will be set to whatever you previously had it adjusted to. All you need to do is hold down F5 and use the F1 or to increase and F2 to decrease those values. So it's pretty quick and it's hassle-free. It will save those jobs, and I'll show you how that's done in the demo. To make things even clearer, the SafeTest 60 Plus uses conditional formatting for test results. It gives you an instant pass or fail based on the set limits, and it also highlights the text in green or red if it's a pass or fail. There's no second guessing, it's pretty straightforward, and you've got reliable testing every time, whether you've got a pass or fail, very simple test. It also makes leakage testing more convenient. All the leakage testing are grouped together in one menu, and that's based on whatever standard you have selected. And we're going to focus on NFPA 99. So everything is right there on one page. You've got all your leakage tests. So for quick access, F1 is now dedicated to earth leakage. You can make it easy to select and run the test without navigating through your screen. And if you need to measure patient leakage or touch leakage, it's running from left to right there. So ground leakage, touch leakage, and patient leakage. It can perform the test with all the applied parts shorted, perfect for NFPA 99. That will really help streamline your process. And again, you can stack the leads so you can have multiple ECG or applied part connections to the safety analyzer. For NFPA 99, obviously the step for CF is irrelevant. You've still got the testing for NFPA, where it just groups all the tests together, and it's efficient for whatever you need for doing that. So it's very little hassle when it comes to testing to NFPA 99. So I'll talk about a little bit about the SafeTest 60 Plus and how you perform a test within this standard. And the first part of that will be just a quick demo for those of you that have just attended this webinar, just to see how the SafeTest 60 Plus works. Here's an example of how we run through that test on a patient monitor. So we can see from when we first turn the device on, we can select ground bond at the far left-hand side. From there, we can perform a ground continuity test from the probe. That's a pass, it's under 500 ohms. From there, we can perform a ground leakage test by pressing the green button. As long as it falls under that limit, it gives us the accurate results. And then from there, we can move across to touch leakage or chassis leakage, open ground, and then finally to patient lead leakage. From there, we switch the probe from the ground bond lead to the patient lead applied part box, and then we can take a measurement, hitting the green button again. We open the ground using the function keys, very easy to use, and then the final test is just checking the load current. So it's a very easy device if you're just running from left to right. Also include an installation test, show you how that performs. Obviously, it's a very quick run through on how it works, and we'll break that down further in the next few slides on how each test is performed and how it can work for your facility. So ground bond tests. We know that class 1 equipment has a ground conductor, so leakage current on the chassis or enclosure can flow to ground, and that helps to prevent any harm to anyone. It's a proven safety measure for preventing electrical shock, although we're moving more towards class 2 devices now that don't have this feature. But it is a means for many medical devices as a means for preventing that electrical hazard. So what we're doing is we're measuring and checking the resistance between the appliance and ground, and that ensures that the safety measure continues to work throughout the medical device's lifespan. So we're still making sure that that integrity remains. There are a few diagrams for the resistance meter in NFPA 99, but this example shows how the 2-wire method works, and it's simple but effective. So the measured values of ground bond vary from standard to standard, but in NFPA 99 it's 500 milliohms or 0.5 ohms. That's the threshold for failure, and it's been that way for quite a while. Hasn't really changed within the codes over the years. So any value measured below this is a pass. And I would like to explain like this: the human body's resistance is about 1 kilo ohm. So even at the maximum value of 0.5 ohms in NFPA 99, that in theory means that 2,000 times less leakage current will flow to the human body without ground bond. So that's the way it performs the safety test. It allows the leakage current to have a much easier path to flow back to ground. Another means of safety is that we actually also measure that leakage current through the ground. And here is a quick demo video of the SafeTest in action with the limits on this particular test. Main screen, we hit the F1 button. From there we can see earth bond and the values are within spec. We zero the lead out first when we're connecting it to any medical equipment. What I'm doing here is just stepping up through the resistance values using a decade box. This is not actually a piece of test equipment. I'm just showing you how the feature works, whereby if it's below the pass fail threshold, then it will indicate with a green tick and show that the values are correct. We go back to the standard 0.5. If it's above that value, you can see it shows up red. It's a very simple feature. So leakage measurements can be broken down into ground, touch, and patient leakage. The terminologies can sometimes change, and they may look different on the safety analyzer that you're using, and people call them by different things. It might be called touch leakage, it might be called enclosure leakage, it might be chassis, but it's the same measurement that's being made. The circuit is not mentioned in NFPA 99, just that the frequency closely matches that found in 60601. So to measure these currents, you just need a meter whose own frequency response characteristics closely matches the body model that you can see on the right-hand side of the slide. Of course, you could make up your own version of this in a workshop with some type of voltmeter and basic components, but you'd also need something to simulate the fault conditions, such as open ground for touch leakage. So using a dedicated safety analyzer is what most workshops are going to do, and they're going to do that with a very simple safety tester. And those in our SafeTest range, like the 60 plus, ensure you're getting the right measurements. So the first test I want to talk about is ground leakage. Now, they're not going to be performed as often as your other leakage tests. In the latest revision of NFPA 99, they're only specified for fixed equipment in category 1 and 2 spaces before you install that equipment. But for those still using 2012, this is obviously a test that's still included amongst most users. One of the key things to ensure when doing this test is that if you're using with fixed equipment, that it's done before any grounds are connected. And all the test is doing is it's measuring the leakage current from the ground conductor of the power supply to the ground of the device under test. Now, the current limit of this is quite high. It's 10 milliamps or 10,000 microamps. And you do this with the power switch in both the on and off positions. And the SafeTest 60 plus does have a default for 10,000 microamps if set to NFPA 99. You can change that value if you want to, but I'll show you on the next slide when you move over to ground leakage that is set to 10,000 microamps. So I'll talk a little bit about touch current testers or chassis leakage current tests before we go on to the demo, and then I'll show you how ground leakage and touch current tests are done with the SafeTest 60 plus. So with this type of test, you're looking at any current that's going to flow to a person from the equipment chassis or any part of the equipment that's not intended for patient treatment or care, so applied parts. This is applied to all portable equipment, and unlike IEC 60601, there are no single fault conditions except the ground is open. So you've got to make sure that the ground switch is open, and I'll show you how that's done in the touch current test. What it's doing is it's just simulating a human body contacting different parts of the equipment, what the leakage current would be flowing through that person, and what's within acceptable limits. So for the touch leakage current test, the ground is always switched in the open position. 2 measurements can be taken, so it depends if it has a power switch. If it's got no power switch, then it's just tested once. But if it comes with a switch, then it's tested in both the on and off positions. And if the appliance is permanently fixed to ground, touch leakage is measured in situ without the ground open. And the reason for that is because you can't actually introduce a fault condition if the device isn't connected to the safety analyzer. So what I'll do now is I'll show you a quick demo video of the touch current and ground leakage tests. So leakage is selected by F2. Hit the green button to activate the device under test. And then we open the ground by hitting the ground icon. Now here you can see I can change the limits. When I open the ground, it goes back to default 500 micrograms, and then it drops down to default. So there's different limits depending on the fault condition. Go to ground leakage, hit the active out, and again it's set to the default of NFPA 99. You can change that limit. It's at the max of 10,000 micrograms, but you can change that if you've got different limits you need to introduce. But generally it's set to a default, and that's it. Very simple test. Hit the red button to deactivate, and that covers your NFPA 99 tests. So we've got lead leakage current tests. Now a patient lead is any lead that has direct conductive contact with the patient and is referred to as an applied part. And this comes from the ANSI ES 60601-1, and it includes non-invasive and invasive patient connections. So anything that comes in contact with the patient, including ECGs, pacemakers, defibrillator paddles, anything that's specified on the medical device as an applied part. When it comes to patient connections, they have lower leakage limits of 100 micrograms to reflect the hazards. NFPA 99 originally say that each individual applied part to ground must be measured. However, in the last few editions of NFPA, including 2021 and 2024, patient leads are grouped together for testing. So testing should be carried out using the suggested circuit in the image with the device powered on that is missing. The leakage current limits are 100 micrograms for the ground wire closed and 500 micrograms for the ground wire open. So you're taking 2 tests for patient lead leakage. And you can activate that using the ground switch on the device, as we did with the touch leakage. And the SafeTest 60 Plus has those test limits built in. So when you open the ground, it will be set to 500 microgram limit, and when you introduce the ground wire closed, it will be 100 microgram, and I'll show you that the next video. Patient lead leakage is F3. We can see that when we switch the ground open and close, it changes the limit. You need to perform 2 tests. Hit the ground, the green button to activate the output. As long as the value is below that, then it's within specifications. This is reading very low levels, as you'd expect. You can change the limits if you need it, but it is default there when you switch the device on and off. So just for clarity on the tests, their limits and single fault conditions, they're there in the code, but it might be useful to have a copy. Feel free to print a copy of this. We'll send over the copy of this slide. You can stick it on the wall. It's good for a quick point of reference. But just to recap, how does this look in a sequence? I'll show you how that test is done individually. But let's run through the demo again and see how we perform that test in sequence with the 60 Plus. So some of the best practices are defined in NFPA 99, and this is important when talking about a product like the SafeTest 60 Plus because it's a manual safety tester. It doesn't record results. There's no data export like some of our other safety analyzers or some of the other safety analyzers out there. Some people still choose to use these types of analyzers because they're simple and effective for biomed, and NFPA states the minimal standard of documentation required for routine checks of equipment. So each record must define what was tested. So that's the unique identification of the equipment or the asset ID number, the date that it was tested, and whether it passed or failed. In most cases, people are still going to record the results. And within NFPA 99, there's only a couple of tests that you can perform. So test protocol should be developed to ensure consistency for each electrical safety check and record. The main aim of electrical safety in NFPA 99 and that of all electrical safety testing standards is just to limit leakage currents that can cause injury or death to a patient or any other user within the facility. So it's always best just to practice testing where a risk to electrocution may occur, regardless of what the minimum requirements are of any standard or code. If you do have any doubts, it's worth just looking at the OEM requirements, whether that be in the service manuals or PMs. As it states here in the bottom, service manuals may specify checks, but NFPA 99 is the law, and it must be followed first and foremost regarding electrical safety. They only need those minimum requirements of the test date, whether it passed or failed, and the asset ID of the equipment. So it's fairly loose on what the actual documentation is required. However, in most cases, still the test results are recorded. But in some states, I still see it now where just a pass or fail record is needed, and that's where a product like the SafeTest 60 Plus really comes into its own. So that brings me to the end of the presentation. It was a demo run through on how the product works, highlighting some of the features and how some of the changes have occurred within the SafeTest range. So I hope that's helped. I haven't gone too much into all the different types of connections, but we do have a demo device here, so I'm happy to run through any questions. If you want to look at anything in terms of the features or the connectivity of the device, then please let me know, and we can do that right now during this demo. I can do that live. But any other questions, just put them in the chat box below and we can run through them now. Thanks.
Lewis, do want to mention to the attendees that we do have some handouts available in the dashboard. If you go to the handout section, there are 3 handouts in there for you to look at. And then we'll go ahead and go through some poll questions that we have. So we'll go ahead and launch the first poll question. And that is, what is your biggest concern when it comes to electrical safety testing? And then the answers are, the choices are compliance with standards, test speed and efficiency, cost of equipment, ease of use. And we'll go ahead and y'all can vote on those, and we'll see what the results are. All right, looks like Lewis, the compliance with standards was the biggest with 50%, followed pretty close by ease of use at 42%. So that's what people are looking for when it comes to electrical safety testing. And then we'll go to the second poll question. And that is, how often does your team perform electrical safety testing? And the choices again are daily, weekly, monthly, annually. Attendees, if you will mark one of those boxes for us so we can get the results in. Wow, so 77% said daily, followed by 23% annually.
Yeah, it's quite a tricky question actually, because safety testing is dependent on whether you're doing it as a PM, which is done annually, but of course most people are actually performing the tests every day because they're working on equipment all the time, whether they're repairing devices, accepting equipment in. So it's a bit of a loaded question, that one, I must admit. So that's an interesting result.
Right. And the next poll question is, which regulatory standard does your facility primarily follow? And the choices are NFPA 99, IEC 62353, and IEC 60601. And then the last choice is other. So let's see, get some people to vote on that so we can look at the results. And the results are coming in. And NFPA 99 is 100%. So I think
Okay, that
that was
tells us 100%. Yeah, it's expected. 100% of the attendees are from either the US or Canada then, which is good to see. So it shows that the device is popular over here, and that's what the SafeTest really is designed for that particular code. It does do the other standards as well, for 60601 and 62353, but it's really designed for NFPA. So that's a result I'm expected to see, but it's to see also attendees that are on from this market.
Good deal. And then I think we have one more poll question. And it should be popping up right now. And it is, what type of test equipment do you currently use for electrical safety testing? And then there are some choices here: Rigel, Fluke, BC Group, Franck, and other. So if the attendees can take a moment to select one. Then the results are coming in, and Fluke got 35% of the vote, and Franck got 41%. So Franck got the most votes. BC Group got 6, other got 18, and Rigel got 0. So looks like this is a piece of test equipment that is going to be very useful to this market. People can start getting it and using it in their facilities.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, John.
And then we will go to questions. We did have some questions come in during the demo. Let me open those up real quick so I can read them to you. One question was, how do you measure SpO2, EtCO2, touch current?
Okay, touch current is measured with the safety tester. SpO2 and EtCO2 you would need alternative devices. So SpO2, you need an SpO2 simulator, which emulate the oxygenation of SpO2. Not something that our safety tester does, but we do have other products in our portfolio that simulate vital signs. So that's not a test we'd have included on this particular device, but it does do touch current. If you need any further guidance on the exact test, it's just done via the output probe on the rear of the analyzer, and that's placed on any conductive part of the enclosure. Now, in the standard, it says it should be any non-earthed conductive part of that enclosure. So as long as you're touching a conductive surface on the appliance, then that's going to measure the touch current back to the safety analyzer.
Gotcha. And then someone, you may have answered this during the webinar, I don't remember. Can you please explain the difference between ground and chassis leakage current?
Okay, yep, sure. So ground is measured through the ground receptacle of the safety analyzer. So any current returning back through the receptacle to the ground lug of the safety analyzer, that's where that current's being measured. It's measuring the integrity of the device's ground connection and how much current is flowing back to it. And then touch or chassis leakage is any current flowing to the appliance. And the reason we open the ground is so that that leakage current doesn't flow back to the ground of the analyzer, but actually through the probe, and so that touch current can be measured.
Makes sense. And then another question we had is, does the tester have an external lead feature?
It does. It has an external lead adapter box, which is 10 lead, and those connections can actually be stacked as well, because all of the 10 leads on our output boxes are common. If you need to expand that out to 20 or 30 leads, you can do that with additional output boxes. They can be stacked on top of each other if you've got a device that's got multiple applied parts.
Okay. And then one of those poll questions was asking, which manufacturer they had testing equipment from. And one of the questions that came in is, what are some of the key differences between the SafeTest 60 Plus and other electrical safety analyzers on the market?
That's a good question. So we have the SafeTest 60 is a manual electrical safety tester, and really it's designed for quick and straightforward NFPA 99 compliance testing. So it's not like automated safety testers, including the ones that we have in our own portfolio. So there's no pre-programmed test sequences or by-step guidance, but it's just a simple, easy to use interface, and it's got clear visual indicators for pass-fail, and it makes it ideal for technicians that just want full control over their testing. It's also lightweight and portable, so it's well suited for all types of healthcare facilities, but primarily as a manual electrical safety tester that's really simple and easy to use straight out of the box.
Then another, I guess, a follow-up question to that was, how does the SafeTest 60 Plus help with NFPA 99 compliance?
Okay, sure. So the 60 Plus allows technicians to perform all of the essential electrical safety tests manually from NFPA 99. So that includes the ground wire resistance, the chassis touch or enclosure leakage current, patient leakage current tests, and also any additional tests that are required from anything in electrical safety, including insulation. But it has full compliance from ground wire to all the leakage tests. How it also helps is it's got those clear pass-fail indicators based on NFPA. So that helps any biomed engineer coming into the field that the device under test is compliant and it's got accurate and repeatable test results on screen.
Okay. And then another question we had come in is, does the pass-fail feature impact workflow efficiency in a healthcare setting?
Yeah, so it kind of goes back to the pass-fail feature for improving efficiency. So it gives you that immediate visual confirmation of the test results, and it just kind of eliminates the need to reference back to the actual standards. It gives you that quick on-screen verification quickly and accurately, so it reduces the risk of any errors when you're performing the test using the worksheet.
Okay, and then another question is, what types of medical devices are best suited for testing with the 60 Plus?
So really the 60 Plus can be used on any type of medical device. It also has point-to-point testing. So you're able to perform that on any class 3 or battery powered equipment, devices that are much larger like ultrasound. You can do point-to-point ground resistance checks and leakage tests. So basically any non-patient connected or patient connected class 1, class 2 medical devices, from patient monitors up to MRI scanners, infusion pumps, ventilators, defibrillators, anything really into the healthcare facility space can be tested using the SafeTest 60 Plus.
Great. And then how can people find out more about the 60 Plus and other Rigel equipment?
So you can reach out to us directly on the screen. I don't know if I'll just share that now. That should have some of our information.
There it is.
That's up on screen there. That's our direct telephone line to the Tampa office, and also our sales email. If you want to reach out to me for any product demos or any further information on technical specifications for the devices, then you can reach me at lewisl@rigelmedical.com. But feel free to contact either of those, either that phone number or email that's on screen right now.
Right. And then is Rigel going to be at any upcoming conferences or anything?
So we will be attending the Ohio trade show this week. And then the next big show we're going to will be the MD Expo in Temecula. So that's our next show. And then the one after that we'll be going to is Amy in New Orleans. So we've got a few coming up over the next few months. But the next main show we've got is the MD Expo in Temecula.
All right, that's all the questions I'm seeing right now. If any more come in, we'll share those with you on email so you can reply. Thank you so much, Lewis, for your time today and the great presentation. I'd like to encourage everyone to visit rigelmedical.com, find out more. And as Lewis mentioned, there's those emails and those conferences coming up where you can get more information. And of course, the trivia question, I didn't forget. The winner of today's prize is Todd Schemekel from Texas. I hope I said that name correctly, or at least close enough so you know that you won. The correct answer is, of course, New Orleans, and that's going to be this Sunday, the Super Bowl. Now, a quick reminder that you can obtain your CE certificate by completing the post-webinar survey. The survey will be emailed in 1 hour. You must complete the survey to receive your 1 CE credit from the ACI, and you will be able to download the certificate directly from your computer once the survey is submitted. If you have any questions, you can reach us through email at webinar@mdpublishing.com. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.